today's going to be a good day. I've just decided that that's facts. And part of that is because I got a box of tea in the mail. It's hard to have a bad day when you have a good mail day, right? And so I'm going to wait for some people to roll in because I know that people will want to watch me unbox this. I'm going to remember for the first time in a week to flip my timer that I don't pay attention to. Luckily on YouTube, I like right up here when I'm live, I see the amount of minutes I've been on. So, morning everybody, waiting for everybody to roll in, and I'm gonna do a tea unboxing. This just happened. It's why I'm a little late this morning. I was like, ooh, the mail usually gets here around 9 o'clock, and that's usually when I go live because it's like 9 a.m. where I'm at. And I was like, but if I wait for the mail to show up, I can open it in front of you guys and then enjoy some new tea. Which is always a risk because what if I decide to try one and I'm like, oh, that's garbage. Okay, so I'm gonna get to opening this tea box because there are some people here and I'm excited about it. So this is from Yunnan Sourcing. They have two different stores. The .com one is out of China and the .us one is out of Texas, I believe, but they're the same company. I have found personally that the stuff out of China tends to have it seems fresher, you know, and a lot of people hear China and they freak out thinking everything from China is bad, but actually if you're not buying like industrial grown tea for like mass tea production for the American market, if you're buying what they drink, it's really high quality stuff. So I ordered this. They had like a sale on like their spring they had like a spring package deal going on where they're like, oh, these are all of our new spring teas, and I picked the green variety, the Tea Club box of the month of May. And it's pretty great because, and they're not sponsoring me, sponsor myself. It's pretty great because I got all this for like $50 and it's not in huge amounts. So if I hate it, a particular tea, it's not the end of the world. Although usually I find if there's a tea that I don't like the taste of warm, together it ends up tasting good as like a cold brew usually. So if you don't end up liking the taste of like a white or a green or a black tea, try using a different water temperature, using a different brewing method. You might just have to play with it and find your sweet spot. So the first one here is a High Mountain Red Mountain Black Tea. So there's a black tea. I probably won't be having that one today. Here is an early spring Yunnan Baohong Dragon Well green tea. I don't know why, but that seems like a contender. Just stacking them all up. Here is a pure Bud Golden Needle black tea. I'm pretty sure this was like a sampler pack. Here's I know this one already. Here's a white peony by Meidon white tea from Dihong. And now the thing is, like, it can be the same type of tea, right? Like you can have a white tea, but there are hundreds of types of white tea, and you can have a white peony tea that is completely different if it's grown in a different region because the temperature is different, the climate is different, the humidity is different, and it can make such a big difference. And then this is a Taiping green tea. And then this is, this is a Pu'er. It's a ripe Pu'er cake. And this is a honey orchard. I have not particularly cared for honey orchards in the past, so I'm hopeful that this one is better. I like oolongs, but they can be really oxidized, and if they're too oxidized, it's not that I don't like the flavor, it's that my stomach ends up not liking the oxidation in them. So I think I'm going to go with the Dragon Well green tea today, because there's a lot there. And honestly, there are so many here, what I end up doing is having to go onto their website and read about it. Right? So that was fun, and it took me, well, which one? Maybe. Do I do the Dragon Well green tea or the tea from Anuhai? Dragon Well. First choice, best choice. Right? I thought there was supposed to be more green teas in that box. There's quite a few black teas. I don't mind black teas. I just tend not to drink them as much because I notice the caffeine more in them than I do with the white or the greens. And so this is a green tea. I'm gonna just assume 170 degrees. I could probably hop on their website and you can find all different types of like the brewing instructions and the taste, description and all kinds of stuff for each individual one. Ooh, she smells nice. Oh, she's a flat leaf. So they process teas. It's probably too much. They process teas in all sorts of different ways. They're rolling them, they're letting them exist naturally. Sometimes they smash them into, like, I got a whole handful here. Sometimes they smash them into flat leaves, right? And what's crazy is the plant Camellia sinensis, she's so unique in the way that just depending on how you grow her and how you treat her after harvest, it's wildly different, right? You wouldn't know that this is all the same plant for the most part. Like, almost all of them are from the same plant. So I'm going to go with, I feel like that's not enough. Watch me regret it. But I do. I feel like that's not enough in there. It's hard to say. She might expand a little bit. And if I went on their website, the phone that I'm broadcasting live through right now, it would probably tell me how many grams to how many whatever water. So I'm going to go with 170 because it's a green tea. It's pretty good standby amount there. So white teas you would brew in like the 180 range, but like green teas are like 170 and under because I want more of that L-theanine than I do the caffeine, right? And so the hotter you go, the more tannins and like dry mouth feel you'll have, and the more caffeine. And the lower you go, the more like sweet, full mouth feel, and lower caffeine and higher L-theanine gets extracted. So it's just, I really fall in love with Camellia sinensis. She's really like such an interesting plant, and like her capacity to change and dance and be so many different types of things. I can't really think, if I'm being honest, and I say this as a person who grew up with herbs culturally, who have been doing this my whole life, practicing publicly for over a decade, I can't think of any other plant that has so many faces and so many differences and so many nuances than Camellia sinensis. And that's really just beautiful to me. So today is a tea love appreciation day, right? I've never done an unboxing video, and I probably did it wrong. I mean, I opened the box and took stuff out and picked one. That was what I was going to do, even if I didn't come on here. I would have picked one before I came on. But yeah, so today is going to be a good day. We've got a bunch of outside work to do as usual, and we gotta go get, husband's gotta go get a load of alfalfa, and that is just about done for the season. We have to get the cattle down into the bottom pasture. They'll eat back all the fire danger, and then they go to freezer camp. 2 of them do on the 20th of June. So there's plenty of feed there for them, wildly occurring, and that'll save us a chunk of money not having to feed them. And then once that happens and they're gone and it's just goats, the feed bill goes way down, right? And we can start moving the goats around the property and let them eat as much as they would like. I really like this. If you get really into fancy teas, I super suggest getting one of these teapots that lets you like precisely tell it what temperature you need. And this one's digital, so I can like move that knob and tell it what I want. All right. There's no need to pour it from this high, but it's fun. I think people mainly use these for pour over coffee, right? But it works really well for tea. Alright. So let's have some tea. I didn't, in fact, get any dirt moved yesterday up to the new garden beds. Not a bit. So I'm doing it today, and I was going to yesterday, and I just got caught up. I got caught up in like I'm right now. I'm just like swimming and using up milk, just swimming, absolutely swimming. And between that and then I was like, let's go for a drive upriver. And so we went upriver, and then it was just like, that takes time. And then I was like, oh, it's dinner time. And suddenly he had to go pick up the Azure standard order that we get once a month. And I was like, how in the hell is it 9 o'clock at night? Right. So, but today the plan is, while he's off getting alfalfa, I'm hauling up the rest of the dirt, and then when I'm done with that, he'll be back, and then we gotta build a new like barbed wire gate to keep the cows out of the top of a property, and by that I mean from coming around our house, and then kick them out, right? Because I don't want to deal with having to go through the gate and stuff like that with the tractor, so I just need to get done with that. Um, but yeah, so I plan on doing that today. Oh, I got a bunch of living plants in the mail today, which is why I'm like, you have no choice to get that dirt hauled, April. Just do it. It's one of those things where it's like, it just takes time because the tractor is slow. Even in a higher gear, tractors are slow. It's just like who they are as a person. um, so I don't know. You end up getting busy with other things and procrastinating and all this stuff. And sometimes I work really well under pressure. I'm like, fuck, I have all these plants that need to go in the ground. And so I'm like, you better do it. And that's not always a healthy thing, but sometimes it's like, I don't know. I'm sure there's a fucking diagnosis for it, but raise your hand if like an imminent deadline makes you work so much better than if you had like all the time in the world. I think it's definitely part of the human condition. Um, but yeah, I just gonna have a day. I'm gonna do what I can. I'm going to have to be honest with myself that I'm going to have to plant my squash by seed this year directly into the garden, which isn't ideal. If we get a warm October, it will be fine. If we don't, I will be ripening squash indoors towards fall. Sometimes, though, I've noticed, like, if I get a real thick leaf coverage, and I might put frost covering over and let them, like, exist out in the cold for a while, because I think it makes them taste sweeter, right? But I should have had those started, like, 3 weeks ago. Ooh, it smells nice and rich. Super vegetal. And I think I made the right call by putting a little bit more in there. Now, she might expand more than once, right? It's not as full as it looks. Sometimes, especially with like oolongs or something that's been rolled, you'll put barely any in there and you're like, that's not enough to make tea. And then you stick to the guideline and you open it up and it's filled to the top because it's expanded. So let's see what she tastes like. Ricky, gosh, fat orange cat. I thought he was gonna end it all. She's super pretty color. I call it the soup, right? She's really bright colored, which means she's high quality and not super oxidized or anything like that. This is from this year, so. Ooh, that's nice. It almost tastes like a milky oolong, but not. Like it has like a milky mouthfeel. Very tart. Pretty tart, but not like in a sour way. Like I talked about cucumbers yesterday, but it's kind of the best. Like it's very cucumbery. Like if you ate like a juicy cucumber out of your garden, it's like reminiscent to that. Very, very light and warm, but I don't mean warm like, yeah, obviously it's warm because I used hot water, but I mean like it's a warm flavor in your mouth. I like her. This one's a nice tea. Um, yep. So I knew it was going to be a good day, and we picked good. We picked good. I might go through and pick again tomorrow. Somebody said we had an orange cat named Ricky. He was a very spunky little guy. Yeah, there's something about orange cats. I mean, at least 5 or 10 times a day in our house, you hear somebody scream, Ricky! Because he, like, gets off on knocking things down, in particular food bowls, and he's so fucking fat.